I want to bring in the great Rod Beard, Pistons beat writer from the Detroit News. Might be in Sacramento by now. Rod, how you doing, bud?
Definitely in Sacramento right now. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm doing pretty good.
Don't do any cow tipping.
What's there to do in Sacramento as a visiting beat writer?
Luckily, it is a back-to-back, so I only have one day and a few hours to try to kill here. There's not a lot. I've never found the thing to do in Sacramento.
My best friend Jeff lived at, I think, the area that's right around the arena. I think there's condos and things like right around the arena. I guess that's everywhere in the United States of America, but he liked that little area right there. So maybe try something over there. I don't know. I'm just some random speculation.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah, it's bars and stuff, but that's about it. After that, it's nothing.
Okay.
Hey, Rod, let me ask you. Came out yesterday, this potential trade offer. I don't know if it's ever been confirmed or not, but it was Saddiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, a first-round pick, and Kelly Olynyk for Ben Simmons. The 76ers rejected that offer. One, do we know if it was a legitimate offer? Two, are the Pistons in on Ben Simmons? Is that a player that they believe would help them in the future and somebody that they want to go after?
I'm just going to say I'm very, very skeptical on this being true. One, because there's a first-round pick that's included in it, and the Pistons can include a first-round pick in any trade because that goes to Houston, which goes to Oklahoma City. So they don't really have a deal where they can throw in a first-round pick unless they get another team to provide that for them. Because the pick has conditions in that trade that they made that they can't just say, hey, we're going to give you this pick in 2022 or 24 or any of those years up through 27. So that's my first skeptical piece of this. The second is that report said that they wanted a fringe all-star, which is Jeremy Grant. He almost made the all-star team last year, and another piece, and that's Saddiq Bey. But you're throwing in another pick. That's a whole lot for the Pistons to try to do in their rebuild, to say they're going to give up probably their best two scorers, maybe their best three scorers even, depending on the day, and a first-round pick to get Simmons, who is not a scorer. Yeah, that doesn't fly for me. And I just can't see them giving up, even if they could, a first-round pick in the middle of this rebuild. It just doesn't make sense.
I agree. It doesn't make sense to give up your rebuild to start a new rebuild with a player that most people are very unsure of, and that is Ben Simmons. I want to pivot. I want to ask you about one particular player, because we can, have the song and dance about the Detroit Pistons and what they're doing and being back and forth with second and first, but I want to ask more specific questions. Saddiq Bey. What do you attribute Saddiq Bey's inconsistencies to? Because you look at that stretch, that 5-game stretch that he had right after leading New Year's. He had literally 133 points in 5 games, 52 rebounds. He was averaging upwards of 32 points or so. And then turn around and have 2 points. And he had 6 points. You look last night, I think he was 10-1-1. The game before that against the Suns, I believe he had 8 points and 2 assists. Where do you contribute his inconsistencies? I know he's still young, but I divert to you.
Braylon, you hit it on the head. He's still young, and he can have a stretch of 4 or 5 games where he does that. But to go out and say you're going to do that every night when Jeremy Grant's out, Kelly Olynyk's out, you are the 1A guy on the opposing defensive report and the scouting report of guys they have to shut down. So when you play Phoenix, yeah, they're a good defensive team. They're gonna find a way to shut you down. When you come in and play Golden State, they're a good defensive team. They're gonna shut you down. So it's not that he can go out and do it every night. I don't think Saddiq has quite reached that level yet, but he's getting there. And you're seeing these longer streaks. He had a very slow start to the season, but it's encouraging to see that stretch where he was able to put up 20-some points a game. That makes you think that he can do that on a more consistent basis as he starts to mature a little bit more. And when he has some more help. I mean, Cade is going through the same kind of up and down, and there's not as much hand-wringing about that. I think in Saddiq's case, it's just going to take a little bit more time.
Hey, Rod, you watched the world champion Warriors, the future world champion Warriors last night. What did you see from them? As I told you from day one, they were going to win the world championship. Do you think I am on the right track? Klay Thompson's back. That's Braylon's guy. He says he'll put up 100 shots a day. He doesn't care how many he hits. He just loves shooting the basketball. If he stays healthy, who's beating this team?
Yeah, I like their depth. That you've got Otto Porter that's just on the bench. James Wiseman hasn't played a lot, so when he comes back, he'll be a little bit fresher. Draymond's injured right now, so they're just kind of coasting through the season. But once you get to playoff time, that's where Brooklyn's going to be ready. That's where Milwaukee's going to be ready. And I think in the West, they're just as good as anybody else. Can they hang with Phoenix? Absolutely. They've got the depth there and enough guys who can score. I mean, even a Jordan Poole, who has had good stretches this season, also is just one of their reserve scoring guys. They don't count on him for a lot. So I think they've got a lot of options, a lot of opportunity there, and they play a good, solid form of defense, but they're experienced. They have the playoff experience that maybe Phoenix doesn't have, and they've been through those tight ringers of series where Phoenix has only had last year where they've done that.
Stay out west. How about the Lakers? What's your take on them going forward? I think AD is ready to come back, if I'm not mistaken. If he's not back already, he probably should just take All-Star. Yeah, he should probably just take. He should probably just take his time and come back. In March.
Oh, he wants to play an All-Star game, though.
Oh yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. What's your take there on the Lakers?
Just let me know when they're dead. I mean, that's a team that is not going to do it in the playoffs, and we've seen it enough where LeBron can carry a dead horse of a team through a couple of rounds of the playoffs. This team just isn't it. With Russ and with AD being injured, they just don't have enough depth where they can do that on a consistent enough basis. And you've seen, again, where the Milwaukee's, where the Phoenixes, even the Memphises out west are going to be a lot tougher this year. And the Lakers are just not going to be able to step into the gym and roll the ball out and be able to play and run over teams the way that they were in the past. They're just dead man walking for the Lakers. I can't see them winning more than a round, even if they get to the playoffs.
Yes. Thank you.
Quick 2 questions for you. Quick. And one is a quick one. One, how bad are the Pelicans kicking themselves for drafting Zion Williamson as opposed to number 2, Ja Morant? And 2, with the Detroit Pistons, what does success look like moving forward from January through May?
Well, Zion was the pick at the time, but that hindsight has a way of correcting that for you.
Right, we knew he was going to balloon up.
Yeah. If it was anybody else but New Orleans. Look, you give me gumbo every day, and I'm blowing up to 252. You give me all of those restaurants and all of that fat and sassy attitude, I can blow up to 250.
Especially the guy that already is 6'6", 270.
Hey,
that was out of
he
Duke.
big boned it. He big boned it. No, I think the Pistons' success is going to be on finding streaks like that for Saddiq Bey, finding them for Killian Hayes, where he can have some good, consistent back-to-back games. It seems like every time Killian has a good game, he gets injured or something else and he had a hip contusion last night. That's why he didn't play after that first quarter. It's just finding some smooth sailing and some smooth games for him where he can play that way. And then it's getting Jeremy Grant back. And if you can find a trade that works, it's not this Ben Simmons deal, but if you find one that works and you can get 2 first-round picks or a pick and a young guy, starting to set the path a little bit straighter with more pieces for your rebuild.
Talking to Rod Beard, Pistons beat writer, Detroit News. He's out there in Sacramento in advance of the Pistons and Kings. Rod, halfway through the season, are the Pistons where we thought they'd be? I feel like they're worse than I thought they'd be. I mean, their season win total I just saw was 26.5. They're at 10 now, halfway through. Where are they this season compared to where relative to where you believe they would have been halfway through the season?
Oh, they're far below that, and it's really because of injuries and because of COVID. And somebody's going to say, "Hey, everybody's been hit by COVID in the league." The Pistons got hit all at once. It wasn't one guy at one time and 2 players the next week and another player the next week. They had 8 guys all out at the same time, and they were essentially playing with their G League roster against some teams that they probably could have beaten if they were somewhere near full strength. But the injuries, you don't expect to have Kelly Olynyk. That was their main free agent guy. He was out for 2 months. Jeremy Grant's been out for a little bit over a month now. You were missing Cade for the beginning part of the year. That put everything on the ice where you just weren't going to get the production that you wanted out of this first part of the season. So again, you go back to what do you want to see for the last part of it? You want to see them start framing things for next year and beyond. If they're going to trade away these expiring contracts, Josh Jackson's an expiring contract. If you're going to do away with that and get some more picks and get some other young guys in here, then you start doing that. You want to see Isaiah Stewart start taking some turns too. All of these young guys, they need to take a step forward from where they were last year. And we've seen Saddiq Bey do that in a bigger way for longer stretches is what you want to see. Hamidou Diallo looks like a guy who's going to fit long term too. Frank Jackson. So you just want to see more along the path of what this is building to be.
Hey, Rod, what's your take on Kyrie and the Nets going forward? I mean, they're down right now. KD's out. Kyrie can't be there every game. We all thought by now he probably would take the vax and maybe get back with the team, but it's looking like he's holding steadfast. How do they go forward?
No, I think they're just going to move forward and say, hey, we'll use them for the road games and whatever we can. And maybe with KD at full strength and Blake Griffin and James Harden, they'll be good enough to beat most teams. And they'll figure something out. They're not going to convince Kyrie to take the vaccine. That's just not going to happen. And he said it enough times, and he seems just dug in on that it's just not going to happen. So I wouldn't even try to poke that bear anymore either. Just let that be what it is. And if you're going to let him play part-time, let him play part-time. I think they just want to fast forward to the playoffs and get to the series that matter and just try to be as healthy as they can. The health is the most important thing for them. And then it's trying to figure out where Kyrie's going to fit.
I don't think they win this way. I don't think they could win a championship this way.
No. Milwaukee's going to be too tough for them. And, the East is top to bottom a little bit stronger, but I don't think there are as many teams. I like Memphis out west and what they're doing in Golden State, obviously. And Phoenix is going to be a tough out, too.
When's the last time we said that? I like the East
more
than
the East
West.
is coming back,
Wow,
man. They're coming back.
That sounded good to
The
hear.
great Rod Beard. Enjoy Sacramento, California out there. Good job. I don't know if that's something you say. Enjoy Sacramento. Enjoy Sacramento.
You can say a lot of things.
Enjoy
you say a lot of things. It's 57 degrees here, so that's the one ray of sunshine we got.
We got his windows down for crying out loud.
Right? We got to get him in studio.
Thanks, Rod. We appreciate it, man.
We appreciate you as always.
Check out Rod. Check out Rod on DetroitNews.com. All that Pistons
We'll get
content.
him in studio.
On Twitter at Det News. Rod Beard as well.
You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.